Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over this very funny post titled, Anyone Else Losing the Ability to Date Men? Advice. And a big shout out to Mike for sending me this story. And guys, this story, this post, whatever you want to call it, is written by a woman who is a self-proclaimed proud feminist. She's 29 years old, and for some reason, who knows why, and I'm sure you're picking up on my sarcasm, she just can't seem to find a good man. Because apparently, all guys out there are awful. All guys suck. 29 years old, and in her view, because you're going to see as I go through this, she has all these amazing qualities that obviously make her a catch. A lot of things that she brings to the table, and yet can't quite find a guy. And the only guys that want her are the ones that'll quick hook up with her, and then they take off. And she's pissed off, very frustrated. And you're going to see here, guys, she describes herself as someone that obviously has good enough looks. At 29, the guys are attracted to her, want to hook up with her, but no relationships. And she's mad as hell and is shouting out to the world. And that'll be a very good one to go over here, guys, because this is an example of the state things are. Now, instead of people questioning whether maybe something they are doing or saying is turning people off, instead, they pretty much have the idea, there's nothing wrong with me, but it's everybody else who has the problem. And when you start having the same kind of people respond to you the same way wherever you go, maybe it isn't them, it's you. So I'm going to go through this thing here, guys. You're going to definitely get a good laugh about this one here because it's not going to surprise any of you given the stories I do. Those of you guys that have dated in the last few years, still date now, the attitude out there, definitely give you a laugh. And I'm going to go through it. I'm going to pick apart her little comments here. And let me tell you guys, at the end of the story, the comments were all just bombarded from women all over the world that were supporting her and saying how bad guys are and how we suck nowadays and all that. When reality is, you got a lot of great guys out there. They may not make $1 million a year. They may not have a six-pack. They may not be 6 feet tall. But a lot of them are good guys, do well enough, all that, but they're not good enough. But before I do this, real quick, I'm going to read a real quick email here I got it from a guy. I like to read these ones on occasion real quick, thanking me for my work and saying how they like this stuff and it's helped them out. This guy says here, he says, Dear SSM, I want to take a minute to thank you for the content that you provide. Some stories have me laughing and others shaking my head and thinking, what are these idiots doing? Yeah, I think that all the time. You're doing the Lord's work, shining light on those examples of horrid partners and the warning signs to look out for. I also like that you provide support and encouragement to the victim when warranted so that listeners can differentiate right and wrong, as what may seem obvious to many oftentimes gets lost on those involved in the story. If you're ever in Texas, I'd like to get you a beer. Best wishes and Merry Christmas, Trevor. Well, thank you, Trevor. Appreciate the email, and I'm glad that you're enjoying it. And to all you guys, I thank you for your support, and I'm glad I can help you out. Provide entertainment, but also things you can learn along the way. And yes, I do think, what are some of these idiots thinking? But, you know, I know a lot of guys mess up, and I used to mess up too. We can all learn from it. Now, on to the raging feminist who can't get a man. It says here, Hi. I wish this was a beautiful bisexual or lesbian coming out post. Heck, I wish it was a beautiful asexuality coming out post. Unfortunately, it's just another tragic female screaming into the void that is the modern heterosexual dating scene. I just love to know if my current dating experiences are unique or if this is a global crisis. And if so, organize who is going to call the White House. Happy to hear from non-heterosexual perspectives as well. Basically, I'm a 29-year-old female, unhappily hetero woman who loves the SCX. He says, well, good SCX, and it's often thin on the ground these days. I love companionship as well. But the last couple of years, I've just found my attitude towards dating, and scarily men in general, became more and more cynical. I wonder why. Well, I've always identified as a strong, proud feminist. I've never identified or engaged any blanket statements about any gender, including men. But more and more often these days, especially when I'm on the apps or chatting with a potential partner, I find myself thinking, men suck. So, we got a proud feminist here. A lot of women out there might think of themselves as feminists. But when they say proud feminist, that takes it to a whole new level. Now, what this tells me is she says she loves the SEX, which means she obviously has had a lot of the SEX. So I don't think we're talking about a gal that has blue hair, or her hair looks short like Rachel Maddow, or she's overweight. She's probably, I'm guessing, maybe above average looks, because there are women out there that are feminists, and some may claim proud feminists, that if you see them, you see their body, their looks, they look good. They may have a little masculine body language if you really have a good eye for it, but you don't know what they're like until you talk to them, and then you can start picking up real quick. So I'm going to guess probably she's got plenty of the SEX, because I'm going to guess she looks decent from the outside, decent enough. But the second the guys deal with her, they realize, oh my God, I'm not going to get involved with her, because it'd be like in a relationship with another dude. No guy wants to be in a relationship, no straight guy wants to be in a relationship with another dude. They want a girl, a feminine girl. So obviously something she's doing, with something she's communicating, her personality turns them. They'll hook up with her, no problem there. But it's her personality that's ruining things immediately. That's my thought. And I've known gals like this that look damn good from the outside, but they're masculine as hell. It's like another guy. She goes on. Now I don't know if it's all men. I have plenty of great male friends. My grandfather and stepdad are legends, and some of my closest female friends are dating solid dudes. But it seems to me that any single guy between the ages of 20 and 40 is just incredibly problematic at the moment. Define problematic. He doesn't make $250,000 a year. He doesn't have a six-pack. He actually starting to realize that gals like you are difficult to be around. He doesn't want to deal with it. He listens to guys like me saying, don't date girls like you. He doesn't want you to run the relationship. Is that problematic? Now, I'm not going to deny there aren't a lot of guys out there that need to get their shit together. That's why I do what I do. There are. But still, there are a lot of good men out there that make great boyfriend material, husband material. Not that they should. But they've learned that it isn't in their favor to do so. And they've learned to avoid women like you like the plague. But we're just getting started here. She says they're very problematic at the moment. From not washing their butts, she says, I work in healthcare and I can confirm, to being flaky about their dating intentions. She says, a 35-year-old guy telling me he wants a wife and kids, but he's not sure if he wants to commit to anyone just yet, but happy to bang every day of the week forever, or until something hotter comes along. To having shitty takes and surprising topics. She says, one guy's a liberal vegan greenie telling me it's a deal breaker if he knows his partner has slept with more than 30 guys. She says 29 equals virgin saint, 30 equal whore. Like, what are guys bringing to the table? Am I missing something? I don't think it's just the guys I go for, the guys that go for me either. I've given complete control of my dating app choices to various friends, even my mom, and I'm really living in hell. And I've gone on dates with guys I'd never chosen for myself normally. I've gone on dates with guys I subconsciously think are way hotter than me, smarter than me, dumber than me, into the same stuff as me, into stuff I didn't even know existed. It doesn't seem to matter what they look like or who they are as potential friend material. As soon as they become dating or romantic material, they just immediately seem to drop the ball, that the thought of continuing to date them seems exhausting. So she mentions here she was dating a guy, 35 years old. He wants a wife, wants kids, but all he wants to do is hook up, but doesn't want to do anything with a relationship. What does she say here? Not ready to commit to anybody just yet. Well, what does that say? It says, obviously, he's willing to hook up with her because she's obviously good looking enough and loves the SEX. She made that quite clear in the first paragraph. But relationship with her? No way. Now, sure, there are guys out there like that, the Chad and Tyrone types. But if it seems like this is the case all the time, then there's obviously something she's doing that's turning them off. Okay? The way she acts, because remember, Fminist, they want to run the show. They want to lead the relationship. They all act like a man, and it's a turnoff. But a lot of them don't get it. And if a guy can't, and they always say that guys can't handle strong women. Men, real men, can handle anything. It's just we don't want to deal with that bullshit. They want a soft, feminine, easy to get along with girl, traditional girl. But it's like she's saying here, it's all the guys are like this. And by the way, she said, I'm a professional working in healthcare. We know what that means. She goes on and says, I thought dating was supposed to be fun, but it just feels like the most disappointing and time-consuming chore. That being said, I'm getting bored of being single while all my friends are happily coupled up. I work a high-demanding job, so I am time poor. I just want to be able to cuddle up in the evenings with someone kind, funny, empathetic, and who generally likes me, women in general. Well, the last time I checked, kind, funny, empathetic weren't the top things on the list for most modern gals. It's usually how much money does the guy make or have, how tall is he, what's his status, what's his education, what else here? Very good body. Now, don't get me wrong, if a gal takes care of herself and does well, I got no problem with her wanting a guy that's an equal. I'm okay with that. But if she's being unrealistic about it, because let's remember here, only a small percentage of the population of men can be 6 feet tall or more, great body, make a lot of money and all that, so you have to be realistic. She says here, sometimes I feel like maybe I'm the problem. That's a reasonable thing to wonder if the situation keeps happening. Okay, all the time I think that, but I pay my therapist a lot of money to reassure me it's not. So you're throwing money right out the door to get your therapist to convince you it's not you, it's everybody else. In all seriousness, though, I don't think my standards are that high. And yet you're alone. That's the common thing nowadays. The gal's standards are ridiculously high. And I know women in their 40s that have had to resort to medical science to have a baby because they've been picky for 20-some years. And they now even the guys that they would settle for don't want them either because they're too old, because their standards were too high. I certainly have some weird looking boyfriends. 9 to 10 of whom I'm still in good terms with. Number 10 cheated on me and gave me an STI after a year together, so F him. Similarly, I think I bring a reasonable amount to the table. I do okay in the looks department. Well, you better do more than okay, honey. I look after myself. I work hard, play hard, have friends. Sorry, bragging now. And enjoy a range of hobbies. High-powered job, generally love the outdoors, etc. So, right there, that's what she's claiming she brings to the table. High-powered job, which means obviously she has a high degree. Lots of friends, works hard. What else? That type of stuff. Works hard, plays hard, all that. Well, guess what? That's cool and all, but that is not going to make a guy hot for you. What a guy will see a woman bringing to the table is she feminine? Okay? Is she feminine in her looks? Is she feminine in her ways, in her personality? Is she traditional? Is she loyal? Is she good looking? Above average looks? Does she take care of her body? Does she have nice long hair, nails? Dresses feminine, acts feminine, lets the guy lead the relationship, doesn't bring a whole lot of drama. These are things that bring to the table in a guy's eyes. Not a high-powered job. Who cares? Not makes tons of money. That's not going to make get hard. Not having lots of friends and lots of hobbies and all that. High-powered job, make lots of money, advanced degrees. That doesn't turn us on. That's cool. I can respect that, but that's not going to make me attracted to a woman. I'd rather have a girlfriend that works the register of a Target, but is feminine and soft and girly and traditional and pretty than... Right? And again, remember, she said flat out, I'm a proud Fminist. But a lot of gals think I have this and the advanced degrees and make all this money and all this stuff. That should be attractive. It's not. That's what they like in guys, but it's not what guys look out for. So this is one of her problems. So you're not bringing a lot to a table actually. And as she says, my looks are okay. Maybe she's being modest. But then if you're 29, when you get to your 30s, that's not going to help you. She also goes on and says here, I went to therapy for like 12 years to get my standards out of the effing ditch. So I have self-respect and self-esteem. But I don't think I'm nitpicky or choosy. Well, clearly you are. And 12 years therapy would make any guy run for the hills. I literally just want to find a nice human being who's willing to go 50-50 on the emotional labor of a relationship. And maybe a mortgage. But hey, if they're broke, it's not a deal breaker. Sure. Well, right there, 50-50 in emotional labor. When people, I found when a lot of gals have keep track of who's doing what, that's a problem. Okay, instead of just being natural in terms of things, it has to be 50-50. This is literally right out of the Fminist, handbook. I do half, he does half. No more, no less. I don't know. Some insight from others would be nice. The way things are going at the moment, I feel like things can only get worse. I'm getting more and more impatient with the absolute audacity of these men, which I feel is probably going to start showing in my attitude, close me off in future dates. You're already having problems, honey. As much as I hate the idea of editing my feelings to impress or attract a man, I don't want to lose the ability to identify the good guys, if they still exist, because I'm too preoccupied with taking out the trash. Ouch. And a P.S., because she couldn't stop there. P.S. What drives me even more nuts is seeing men do the bare minimum or worse when dating or in a relationship with my many precious, incredible female and non-binary friends. Of course, she had to bring up non-binary. I practically foam at the mouth. But my friends, for the most part, seem pretty zen about it. Yeah, he was shit, but there's more fish in the sea. I want that attitude, but all I can think of is that climate change means the sea is turning to acid. So all the good fish are dead, and we are left to choose from the weird mutants. Okay, so she's not doing too well, and she's a bitter taste in her mouth. Now, given her personality, her attitude, yeah, she's creative with her writing, I'll give her that. So obviously she has a warped sense of humor. Can you imagine showing up to meet her for a drink with all this in the inside? I'm sure it comes out. If she's having this much trouble, and I'm being real here, constantly with guys, instead of saying it's all men, that men suck, maybe you need to take a look in the mirror at yourself and say, where am I going wrong? But a lot of people don't want to do that. It's easier to blame everybody else and say he has the problem, or that guy has the problem, or all men suck and have problems, not me. No, obviously you're going wrong, and you need to get a new therapist that can tell you where you're going wrong. Because she says she's paying her therapist pretty much to tell her it's not my problem. That's a big problem. But I can tell just reading this and the way she's describing things, and by her saying in the first paragraph, proud feminist, there I said the F word, that's going to turn off any guy, and we know what that means in today's day and age. So the best thing she could do is get a real attitude adjustment, look at herself and see where she's going wrong, and realize not all guys are like that. Are there some guys out there that are scumbags? Of course. I wouldn't have anything to do with them. Are there a lot of guys out there that are really just won't grow up and won't get their shit together? I agree with that too. But believe me, there are plenty of good guys out there that do well or well enough for themselves, look good, are good guys, would be supportive, do want relationships, but more and more of those numbers are dwindling because they're waking up to reality, how things are today, how so many gals in varying degrees are like her. No good men out there. It's bullshit. It really is bullshit. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of low lies out there, or guys that won't grow up. Sure, you don't need them. But there are a lot of good ones out there, but more and more, they're done. Not only with marriage, they're done with relationships. They're going their own way. They're focusing on themselves. They're improving themselves, realizing I don't need a chick to be happy. To be honest, the chicks always made me crazy. Now I'm hanging out with my bros. I'm working real hard, improving my job, start a business, going to the gym. I got my dog. I got my cats. I'm saving money. Look at all the money I'm saving by not being in a relationship, right? Look at all the time I had. My hair isn't going as gray anymore because of that girl. I'm not going as bald as quick because I'm no longer dating and dealing with that bullshit. But she's got obviously some issues she's got to work on. And I'm being nice by saying some. Feminist women are not going to have an easy time attracting the type of men they want. Because I found that masculine women, these feminist types, the only guys they can get are feminine guys. Because the feminine guy is attracted to her strong masculine energy. And that's all she can get. And yet they want a masculine guy. No masculine man is going to want a masculine woman. It's a fucking turnoff. Again, like a dude on another date. They want soft and easygoing and nurturing, traditional feminine woman. And until she makes those changes, she's got a problem. And she's 29. She's still technically in the range of her prime. The second that 3-0 goes on there, she's toast, given her attitude. So she needs definitely to work on herself and talk to people that give her a realistic analysis of who she is. Otherwise, she's in trouble. Because this is how she's talking now, 29 years old. I can't imagine in a few years when she's in her 30s, what she's going to be like then. Good Lord. Now, to wrap this up, I'm only going to read one comment. One comment from a woman that obviously is agreeing with her, and this will just, the whole comment section is full of women agreeing with her that men suck and all that, and there's no good guys out there at all, even though there's 8 billion people on the planet, half of them are men. And I'm going to read this comment and let you guys make up your mind about her. This lady says here, she says, "You are not the problem. Men suck. Literally, statistically, factually suck." She says, "Studies prove that when both partners work full-time, women still do the majority of house and child care. Studies prove that men are more likely to leave their partner if they are diagnosed with an illness. Studies prove that men are violent and are much more likely to hurt, grape, or off their partner." That's what she's saying here, that studies say this, that pretty much we're all going to do that. So looking at that, how could you be the problem? How could any of us women be the problem? Something tells me this woman's alone too. We are living through a very unique cultural shift. We were raised by boomer parents that try to be modern, thinking that just telling their little girls that they could be anything was enough, when they neglected to raise their little boys with this in mind. They didn't raise boys to be emotionally mature, help with dinner, dishes, etc. I got no problem with guys helping out, boys growing up to help with dinner and dishes, all that. I had to help with dishes and dinner and all that. Emotionally mature, though, what is the definition of that? A guy that cries, a guy that goes to his girl to be his therapist, his mommy, to fix all his problems. Newsflash, women don't like that. They say they want a guy that's sensitive, emotional, who'll cry, talk about his feelings and emotions. And when he does that, guess what happens? It doesn't end well. So this is why you don't take advice about women from women. So now we have strong, independent women who can provide for themselves and are unwilling to settle for shitty men. She wrote that in giant letters. And unfortunately, women have been settling for shitty men for hundreds of years. We had to. We had no other option since we couldn't work and be financially independent. So all guys are shitty because these guys wouldn't do the dishes or cry or whatever. But now all these shitty men are failing to grow and do better. Define grow and do better. Instead of deciding to help out more, be emotionally intelligent, too many are deciding to become incels. I was waiting for that. Lay around complaining about how they deserve women and that we should go back to being traditional gender roles and owning women, all because they can't get in with the times. Well, we all know what the times are right now. We know what this cultural shift has brought. We're in an area that divorce is more common than ever, over 60%. We're in an area more people that are married are miserable. We're in an area that is, thanks to the feminist movement, molding men to behave more like women, molding women to behave like men. Both parties are more and more divided, turned off from one another. You got the young generation of kids in high school that just simply aren't interested in girls at all. I mean, apparently this is not just in my area and what I've been hearing about from the younger guys in my family, but everywhere. Young guys just have no interest. And I'm convinced there's a lot of things going on there, one of which is the boys are being molded to be more like women, feminine, and the girls are being more molded to act like men. And they're both turned off from each other, amongst many other things. So these times, and not to mention that, look at the mess with the kids nowadays. More and more kids are raised in single-parent households, usually moms. And moms, although they can love their sons and care for them and provide, it's not the same. The boys need a father around, as the girl needs a mother around. And so you got more lost kids out there. Look at how the kids are nowadays. Not all, but many, in terms of the lack of respect, the lack of initiative. They're wandering aimlessly in the world. They won't grow up. Is this the cultural shift she's talking about? Is this the times? This is a very bad thing. So perhaps more traditional times were actually better. Goes on. She says here, so yeah, it's not you. You are wonderful. It's not our fault the men have failed to grow with us. Again, if the world we have now is supposed to be growth, I'll take the old world, thank you. I do have hope that they will catch up. I see TikToks of men talking to other men about saving their marriage, and it does give me hope. They're talking about contributing more, lowering their wife's mental load, etc. TikTok, huh? That tells you everything you need to know. So, when somebody says that everybody else is the problem and not me, and we got a girl here that's being a yes girl to her, saying that you're not the problem, it's all them, what does that say? So, in my opinion, this is why she's alone. And like I said, I'm sure she's dealt with some guys that are low lives, but generally, if someone is unwilling to look at themselves, say something I'm doing is wrong, this isn't going well. That's a major red flag. And sadly, you got more and more people that are so their head is up their ass that they don't ever want to think they're the problem, and this is just going to continue. But so, Fminist gals out there, you better make some adjustments or you're going to continue to be alone. And men are not the problem. There are some men that are a problem, but by and large, saying that we all suck, it's ridiculous. So, all right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me just think about this. Let me know, guys. Have you ever been on dates with gals like this? Have you ever, she's a good-looking girl, and then you go out with her and start talking. It's like, whoa. It's like being there with another dude. I'd like to hear about that. How long did that last? Any gals out there? I got 4% of the women watching me right now. You know any gals like this? That's complain, but aren't willing to change anything about themselves. I'd like to hear about that too. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.